Bakla!
Hi everyone, welcome to Buckle Up Podcast. I'm Natalia Earl and I'm a certified business and life coach that loves talking to people. I'm fascinated by humans and how our brain works. What is it that makes a decision good or bad, and how does that decision ultimately shape our path and destiny? Everyone loves to talk about success, but what about the flip side? How about adversity, failure? It's such a big and often necessary part of life, and it's simply unavoidable. So I invite you to join me on this inspiring, honest, unpolished interview show with breathtakingly real conversations that go deep on setbacks and hardships that are part of the puzzle that ultimately lead to growth, discovery of inner greatness, and what makes us resilient.
Bakla!
Grab your helmet and buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but what a ride it will be. Today's guest, Viviane Favery Costa, was born and raised in São Paulo, Brazil. Being the only one in her family to have interest in sports and nature, Vivi had to swim against the current to find her place in the world. Biking was her north and the mountains were her compass. Mountain biking allowed her to grow out of what her family had planned for her and become more than just a strong athlete. A woman with ethics, generosity, and ability to touch others. Vivi is a two-time national champion, two-time Brazil Ride winner, RAAM 2022 finisher, Red Bull TV commentator, podcaster, writer, and a Cannondale Ambassador. In October 2021, Viviane officially moved to Quebec, Canada to establish with her husband and former mountain bike Olympian, Raphaël Gagné. And in June 2022, Vivi and Raphael launched their mountain bike school in Quebec.
I was born in São Paulo, one of the biggest cities in the world. Nobody in my family did any sports. They were entrepreneurs, and my grandpa founded the family business 60 years ago. And my dad's expectations were that I would take over, work for the company and make my grandpa happy. Yeah, you can imagine that growing up in South America there is a lot of tradition still. It's like stepping back in the past comparing to North America. The culture is still mixed with the patriarchy system. So that means the male voices are more important, and that your father, your grandpa, they have a lot of power in your life, and you don't really have a lot of choices. You kind of have to do what they want. So the women, I grew up hearing from my family, from my parents, that women, they're either interested in your money, or they are just quiet, and they should be passive, right?
Right.
And that it was really hard to get out of that place, because my mom, my grandma, my sisters, everybody is kind of like stuck there, and the girls around me, and it's just like everything is telling you that you're not supposed to want something different than that, and you're supposed to accept it. First, I was trying to follow my family's path, and I was trying to please them. So I grew up with no sense of self-love or self-esteem. because I didn't know, I had no support to be myself. Like I had zero support to be who I was or to get to know who I was. So I tried to do what I thought was the right thing to do, which was to please my family. Eventually, when I was like 20 something, I realized I got into a deep hole, and I started having panic attacks and anxiety crisis. I didn't accept it until it was too bad, and I had like suicide thoughts and etc. And one day, I was lucky enough that my mom told me, "Okay, you should see a therapist," and which I did, and that saved me because I started seeing a therapist when I was 18. Mm-hmm. And that was really important for me to, when I was 28, 10 years later, to get a better idea of who I was. And that was pivotal. Like it was really, really important for me not to take the bad path. So I got really close to getting into drugs or addictions or something, and I was lucky enough to have like some people in my way to show me I could do better, and it took me away from the bad stuff. And if I could resume or like make a long story short about my trajectory. And like if I were to raise a flag and be like, this is what I stand for, this is the people I represent, let's put it like that, I think I would represent the privileged people that were born in a golden crib, that had the access to money and to travel and to knowledge, but didn't feel like they had the right to be miserable. And because of that, they were miserable. So that environment when I was really young, at a really young age, impacted my whole life. Right. And it took me 10 years to change a lot of my, the things that my beliefs, the negative beliefs. And now I think at the age of 36, I still do therapy. And I still figure out some beliefs that are still there. It's more like maintenance. Yeah. But for a long time, it was like chaos. I really had to reset my mind, you know. Yeah. And I had to do that as I was living life. Like life doesn't stop for you to figure out who you are and your values, and so all of this impacted directly my performance in everything I did. And just a parenthesis, for the ones who think that the mind and the like reason and feelings are not connected, like how? It's impossible. Right. We are one person. You don't go to the doctor and you only talk about like the pain you have on your ankle. You have to explain to him that, or her, that you went through a life transition and you were under stress because there was a lot of unknowns. And that also happened. It's not only like the pain you feel, it's also like what you went through, you know. So we are one. So close parenthesis. Therapy is part of taking care of yourself. It's not because we're like, it's part of like, you do yoga, you go to the gym, you work out, and you also take care of your brain, you know, how your brain is wired. That's why you talk to someone who is a professional therapist. So that environment when I was really young, at a really young age, impacted my whole life. Right. And it took me 10 years to change a lot of my, the things that my beliefs, the negative beliefs. And now I think at the age of 36, I still do therapy. And I still figure out some beliefs that are still there. It's more like maintenance. Yeah. But for a long time, it was like chaos. I really had to reset my mind, you know. Yeah. And I had to do that as I was living life, like life doesn't stop for you to figure out who you are and your values. And so all of this impacted directly my performance in everything I did. And just a parenthesis, for the ones who think that the mind and the like reason and feelings are not connected, like how? It's
Right.
impossible. We are one person. You don't go to the doctor and you only talk about like the pain you have on your ankle. You have to explain to him that, or her, that you went through a life transition and you were under stress because there was a lot of unknowns. And that also happened. It's not only like the pain you feel, it's also like what you went through, So we are one. So close parenthesis. Therapy is part of taking care of yourself. It's not because you're like, it's part of like, you do yoga, you go to the gym, you work out, and you also take care of your brain, how your brain is wired. That's why you
Right.
talk to someone who is a professional. I am not a motivational speaker. I am not an influencer. I am not someone who goes on social media and like and talks about it openly and tries to like make a statement, because I'm still figuring it out.
Right. But it's a
But
lifelong journey. It doesn't
yeah,
happen overnight. And I think that's where we don't give ourselves enough credit because, especially in today's day in society, everybody wants that instant gratification, right? Because everything is so instant with social media and the illusion that they've created. But
yeah,
life is a journey, and you're not the person that you were yesterday. And, hey, you're not probably even the person that you were this morning, right? We
yeah,
learn each day and we discover so much more inside of us each day, that how much more you have inside, how much more
yeah,
you can give mentally, physically, spiritually. And
definitely.
like sometimes I'll read a book and I'll recognize part of me inside that book that I didn't even know that existed.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So every day we learn so much, and that's where we have to be patient with our own selves, and
Hmm.
forgiveness to start with our own selves, because sometimes we get so mad and frustrated, like, how could you do it, or how could you not succeed, or why
Yeah.
did you do it like this and like that, and we are so hard on our own selves. But listen, life is a journey, and every day we grow and we learn and we become better and better.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to Jeff Spur, right? That's why it was really special to be around him, because talking to him was like talking to you right now. It's changing me already, and it's recognizing yourself in someone else's story, in someone else's context, and seeing how they handle that. And I can give me some props, like some thumbs up for some things that I've accomplished. I'm really proud of myself. I
Right.
am like I am really proud of where I am and what I've built around me. Like, I came from a really toxic environment back home, really, and I made it out of there, and I created this oasis that is my home here right now with my husband Raphael. We met through racing, me and Raph, and he's a super accomplished bike racer. He went to the Olympics. He won Pan American Champs, Pan American Games for XCO mountain biking, cross country Olympic mountain biking. And now we're both like not racing professionally anymore and doing what we love, which is teach young kids how to ride a bike and the fun about it and sharing our values. So we
Hmm.
do feel like our legacy is there. We are